Nearby survivors trembled, and the station guards began recording their statements. Both men fell silent under the suited man's steady gaze. Kang Hyuk had lied about Hwang Kyuho's location during the earlier confrontation. A young attendant forced a nervous smile and tipped his cap while covering his guilt. He claimed a suited man had come and managed it. The suited man stood with his arms crossed, and a red light flashed in his eye. The blue rift behind them hummed with lingering power and cast cold light over the station. Nearby survivors trembled, and the security guards began recording statements. Under the suited man's steady gaze, both men fell silent. The attendant then blurted a question asking Kang Hyuk if he knew the man. Kang Hyuk had lied about Hwang Kyuho's location earlier. A young attendant forced a nervous smile and tipped his cap. He read his notes while the blue rift hummed behind them. He suggested Kang Hyuk might not know because he had only recently awakened as a metahuman. The suited man's silent, steady stare and the red light in his eye kept everyone still. Nearby survivors trembled and security guards recorded statements. The attendant then stated plainly that the man was Hunter Kang Min's older brother. He asked Kang Hyuk if he recognized him. The attendant named the man as Hunter Kang Min's older brother, and Kang Hyuk's face split into shock. He stammered aloud and imagined the man's strength. He thought it explained the man's overwhelming power. The crowd's tension stiffened around the blue rift as survivors watched. Kang Hyuk then concluded the man must be a returner like his brother. A caption defined returners as ability users who had been summoned to another dimension and returned alive. The revelation settled over the group and pushed questions about origins and danger to the forefront. The attendant had named the man as Hunter Kang Min's older brother, and Kang Hyuk froze in shock. He had thought the man's strength explained his overwhelming power and concluded he was a returner. A caption had defined returners as ability users summoned to another dimension and returned alive. The revelation settled over the survivors and tightened the crowd around the blue rift. Then a skeletal army rose behind Kang Hyuk, its red eyes burning and banners snapping. A green skeletal mount led the host as an eerie blue aura surrounded Kang Hyuk. The attendant had named the man as Hunter Kang Min's older brother, and Kang Hyuk froze. He had assumed the man's strength marked him as a returner, and the crowd realized this truth. A caption labeled Kang Min the last ability user to return to Earth. A bright blue sphere spun above a palm, pulsing energy into the air. Survivors tightened around the blue rift and watched in stunned silence. Behind Kang Hyuk, a skeletal army had risen, red eyes burning and banners snapping in wind. A green skeletal mount led the host as an eerie blue aura surrounded Kang Hyuk. The attendant identified the man as Hunter Kang Min's elder brother, causing Kang Hyuk to freeze. The crowd confirmed he was a returner, and a caption named Kang Min the last returnee. Above a palm, a bright blue sphere spun, pulsing energy into the air and drawing survivors close. Behind Kang Hyuk, a skeletal army had risen, red eyes burning and banners snapping. A green skeletal mount led the host as an eerie blue aura gathered around Kang Hyuk. While the crowd stared, a station attendant shouted Tiho's name and startled the young man. Tiho turned toward the voice, his breath quick, and he answered with a nervous yelp. An attendant named the man as Hunter Kang Min's older brother, and Kang Hyuk froze. The crowd confirmed the man was a returner, while a caption labeled him the last returnee. A bright blue sphere spun above a palm, pulsing energy that drew survivors nearer. Behind Kang Hyuk, an army of skeletons rose, red eyes glowing and banners snapping, led by a green skeletal mount as a blue aura gathered around him. A station attendant suddenly shouted Tiho's name. Tiho turned with quick breath and answered nervously. Two attendants then confronted a newcomer, scolding him for not paying attention and demanding Hunter Hwang Kyuho's location. An attendant had named the man as Hunter Kang Min's older brother in public. Kang Hyuk froze while the crowd confirmed the figure was a returner. A bright blue sphere spun above a palm, pulsed, and drew survivors nearer. Behind Kang Hyuk, skeletons rose with red eyes glowing and banners snapping loudly. They were led by a green skeletal mount, while a blue aura gathered tightly around him. A station attendant shouted Tiho's name, and Tiho turned, then answered nervously. Two attendants scolded a newcomer and demanded Hunter Hwang Kyuho's current location at once. A blonde explained Kyuho left with a return stone and that Kang Hyuk defeated the boss. An attendant named the man Hunter Kang Min's older brother to the gathered crowd. Survivors confirmed he was a returner, and tension rose immediately. A glowing blue sphere spun above a palm, pulsed, and drew people closer. Behind Kang Hyuk, skeletons rose with red eyes while banners snapped. Station staff called Tiho and demanded Hunter Hwang Kyuho's location. Witnesses murmured in disbelief and asked why the Gargoa Guild kept him. The blue aura pooled on the tiled floor around the group. An attendant identified the man as Hunter Kang Min's older brother to the crowd. Survivors confirmed he was a returner, and the crowd's tension rose immediately. A blue sphere spun above a palm, pulsed, and drew people closer. Behind Kang Hyuk, skeletons rose with red eyes while banners snapped in the draft. Station staff called Tiho and demanded Hunter Hwang Kyuho's location. Witnesses murmured and asked why the Gargoa Guild kept him. The blue aura pooled on the tiled floor around the group. Two attendants read a statement about Hwang Kyuho's change in conduct, and the crowd absorbed the accusation. The station's tension had not eased after the attendants' accusation and witnesses had clustered closer. Kang Hyuk had stood motionless in a suit, while a blue sphere had spun and collapsed into a shimmering pool at his feet. Crystalline shards had erupted from a crate, and spectral light had traced the tiles. Skeletons with red eyes had risen behind him as banners had snapped in the draft. Station staff had shouted for Hwang Kyuho, and murmurs had spread about the Gargoa Guild. The crowd had tasted accusation and cold magic. The station remained tense as witnesses clustered and staff muttered. Kang Hyuk walked in a suit beneath a spinning blue sphere that collapsed into a shimmering pool while crystal shards traced the floor. An attendant checked reports at the platform edge as spectral light drifted through the tiles. Captions explained that after Kang Min died, Hwang Kyuho often left aftermath duties to his juniors and departed alone. The association had received reports of his behavior but lacked the power to challenge the Gargoa Guild, and the crowd tasted accusation and cold magic. The station had not lost its weight of accusation and cold magic. Shadowed figures in suits gathered beneath a stormed sky and watched the association building loom. Staff and witnesses held their breath as whispers spread and shards from earlier events gleamed. Murmurs recalled Kang Hyuk's arrival and the attendants' checks across the platform. Rumors about Hwang Kyuho's absences and the Gargoa Guild's untouchable power darkened every face. The crowd looked for a sign, but only the glass tower reflected their unease. The station still carried the weight of accusation and cold magic from earlier events. A caption warned of a rising conflict within the Gargoa Guild after Kang Min's death. Suit-clad figures watched as the association building reflected their uneasy faces and murmurs. Kang Hyuk moved across the platform beneath drifting blue energy lines as rain fell. A blond man grabbed Kang Hyuk's wrist and urged them to leave quickly. They left toward the tower while whispers of a guild power struggle spread. Witnesses watched without moving and waited for a sign that never appeared. The station still bore the weight of accusation and cold magic from earlier events. Captions warned of a rising conflict inside the Gargoa Guild after Kang Min's death. Suit-clad figures watched the association building and murmured among themselves. Kang Hyuk moved across the platform beneath blue energy lines as rain fell. A blond man grabbed Kang Hyuk's wrist and urged him to leave toward the tower. Witnesses watched without moving and waited for a sign that never came. An attendant stepped forward and recorded the survivors as Hunter Tiho and Hunter Hwang Kyuho. The station still carried the weight of accusation and cold magic from earlier events. Suit-clad figures watched the association building and murmured among themselves quietly. Kang Hyuk stood beneath the blue energy lines, with rain dimly falling around him. A blond man had grabbed his wrist and urged him to leave toward the tower. Witnesses remained frozen and waited for a sign that never came afterward. An attendant stepped forward and recorded survivors, noting Hunter Tiho and Hunter Hwang Kyuho. In that hush, a voice invited Kang Hyuk to join the official report. He turned his head and answered with a single cold word flatly. The reply came as a terse refusal and a faint red glow in his eye. The station still bore the weight of accusation and cold magic. Suit-clad figures watched the association building and murmured among themselves. Kang Hyuk stood beneath blue energy lines while rain fell around him. A blond man gripped his wrist and urged him toward the tower. Witnesses froze and waited for a sign that never came. An attendant stepped forward and recorded survivors, listing Hunter Otiho and Hwang Kyuho. A voice then invited Kang Hyuk to join the official report. He turned and replied with a terse refusal. The receptionists forced nervous smiles and muttered that he gave them chills. The station still bore the weight of accusation and a thin, cold magic. Suit-clad figures watched the association building and murmured among themselves under the rain. Kang Hyuk stood beneath blue energy lines while witnesses froze and waited. A blond man gripped his wrist and urged him toward the tower. An attendant recorded survivors and listed Hunter Otiho and Hwang Kyuho. A voice invited Kang Hyuk to join the official report, but he refused. Receptionists forced nervous smiles and said he gave them chills during the exchange. Onlookers whispered that he was Kang Min's older brother, yet different in presence. They guessed he was a returner strong enough to take down a boss alone. They added he must have rescued that guild member from the dungeon. The station crowd compared Kang Hyuk and Hunter Kang Min beneath cold rain and neon light. Voices argued and dismissed the ordinary-looking man, while insisting Hunter Kang Min proved stronger. A Gangnam Club sign glowed along the street as onlookers exchanged low whispers. Suit-clad figures watched from the association building, while attendants recorded survivor statements for the file. Kang Hyuk stood silent beneath blue energy lines and refused the official invitation to speak. Receptionists kept nervous smiles, while murmurs spread that he resembled Kang Min, yet carried a different presence. After the station exchange ended, they moved through rain and neon toward the club. Kang Hyuk kept silent beneath faint blue energy lines along his shoulders. A yellow sign reading GANGNAM Club glowed above the dark street. His companion asked if this was the place in a cautious voice. The companion added that Hwang Kyuho frequented the club but might not be present. Onlookers and officials still compared Kang Hyuk to the Hunter Kang Min. Receptionists recorded statements while suited figures watched from the association building. After the station exchange ended, they moved through rain and neon toward the club. Kang Hyuk kept his silence. Faint blue energy lines traced his shoulders beneath the street light. His companion looked up and asked if this was the place. The companion said Hwang Kyuho often came here and offered to try another club if Kyuho was absent. Officials and onlookers still compared Kang Hyuk to the Hunter Kang Min, while receptionists recorded statements in the association building. After the station exchange, they moved through rain and neon toward the club. Kang Hyuk kept silent as faint blue energy lines traced his shoulders beneath the street light. His companion squinted and asked if this was the place, then mentioned that Hwang Kyuho frequented the club and offered to try another venue if Kyuho was absent. Officials and onlookers still compared Kang Hyuk to the Hunter Kang Min, while receptionists filed statements in the association building. At the club entrance, the companion cleared his throat and denied any friendship, saying he only belonged to the attack squad led by Kang Hyuk. After the station exchange, they moved through rain and neon toward the club. Kang Hyuk remained silent as faint blue energy lines traced his shoulders beneath the street light. His companion asked if this was the place and mentioned Hwang Kyuho might be there. Officials still compared Kang Hyuk to Hunter Kang Min, while receptionists filed reports at the association. At the club entrance, the companion denied any friendship and claimed he only belonged to the attack squad. Kang Hyuk then stepped forward and asked if the companion had gone around with him. The companion flinched and offered a strained denial. They reached the club beneath neon and rain. Kang Hyuk kept silent while faint blue energy threaded his shoulders. The companion, still defensive, insisted he had been dragged around by Hunter Kang Min and denied personal ties. Kang Hyuk pointed toward the entrance and told him to look inside. The companion flinched but obeyed and opened the door. Inside the club, two figures filled their view, a pale white-haired man standing close and a blue-haired youth seated just behind him. They reached the club beneath neon and rain. Kang Hyuk kept silent as blue energy traced his shoulders. His companion remained defensive and denied ties to Hunter Kang Min. Kang Hyuk pointed to the entrance, and the companion opened the door. Inside, a disco ball hung above, and an exit sign glowed. A white-haired man stood close to the doorway, while a blue-haired youth sat behind him. Club patrons blurred around them. Kang Hyuk and the companion stepped in and met the two men's steady gazes. They moved into the club beneath pulsing lights and drifting smoke in silence. Kang Hyuk still bore blue energy along his shoulders and collarbone. His companion stayed close by and offered no explanation or greeting whatsoever. Kang Hyuk stepped forward and fixed his gaze on the white-haired man. The white-haired man remained composed, while a blue-haired youth watched behind him. Club patrons blurred into streaks of color as the disco ball spun above. Music thudded, but a hush fell between the two pairs of men. No words passed, each man measured the other with a steady expression. They stepped through the doorway into a smaller room under cool blue light. Kang Hyuk still bore blue energy along his shoulders and collarbone. The white-haired man remained composed, while the blue-haired youth watched from behind. A man at the foreground yawned and covered his mouth with a bloody hand. A pale figure glanced back nervously and remained close to Kang Hyuk. Particles from the club lights drifted through the doorway. Silence stretched and tension tightened between the figures. Each person held their posture and watched for the other's next move. They moved into a compact room washed with cool blue light. Kang Hyuk still bore blue energy along his shoulders and collarbone. The white-haired man kept a composed stance near the doorway, while the blue-haired youth lingered behind him. A man at the front covered his mouth with a bloody hand as he yawned. A pale figure stayed close to Kang Hyuk and kept glancing back. Particles from the club lights floated through the doorway. Silence tightened between the figures as each held posture and waited. A purple chapter title then appeared declaring the Necromancer's return. They proceeded down a long corridor lined with potted plants and a patterned purple carpet. Kang Hyuk walked at the right in a suit, composed despite the blue energy on his skin. The youth kept to his left in casual clothes, walking with measured steps. Light from above poured along the carpet, and dust motes floated in the beam. Silence held between them as they moved toward the doorway glow. The air felt watchful as they neared the room where the Necromancer's return had been declared. They proceeded down the corridor toward the door where light pooled along the purple carpet. Kang Hyuk walked at the right in a suit with faint blue energy on his skin. Blue-haired youth kept to his left and moved with steady steps. Dust motes floated in the beam as silence held between them. A suited man stood framed in the doorway, hands clasped behind his back, an expression unreadable. He blocked their path and watched without speaking at first. Blue-haired youth finally spoke, saying, "You're late." The word tightened the air and pushed the scene toward confrontation at the room declared for the Necromancer's return. They proceeded down the corridor toward the door where light pooled along the purple carpet. Kang Hyuk walked at the right in a suit with faint blue energy on his skin. Blue-haired youth kept to his left and moved with steady steps. A representative stood framed in the doorway, hands clasped behind his back. The representative watched without speaking until blue-haired youth said, "You're late." The word tightened the air and pushed the scene toward confrontation. The representative did not shift his expression, but leaned forward slightly. The blonde companion answered with a nervous smile and said, "Ah, I'm sorry." The apology thinned the tension, but did not change the representative's guarded stance. They moved down the corridor under cool lights toward the framed doorway. Kang Hyuk walked to the right in a suit, his skin showing faint blue energy. Blue-haired youth stayed close and spoke first, tightening the air with one line. The blonde companion apologized, but the representative held a guarded stance without reply. A man in a suit faced them and was formally introduced to the room. The speaker identified him as Kang Min's older brother, and the name landed. The reveal stiffened the group and widened the distance between patience and action. They moved down the corridor under cool lights toward the framed doorway. Kang Hyuk walked to the right in a suit, his skin showing faint blue energy. The blue-haired youth stayed near and spoke first, which tightened the air. The blonde companion offered an apology, but the representative remained silent. A suited man stepped forward and was formally presented to the room. His identity was given as Kang Min's older brother. The name landed hard. The group stiffened and distance grew between patience and action. They moved down the corridor, beneath cool lights toward the framed doorway. Kang Hyuk walked to the right in a suit, and his skin showed faint blue energy. The blue-haired youth stayed close and spoke first, which tightened the air. The blonde companion apologized while the representative kept silent. A suited man stepped forward and was formally presented to the room as Kang Min's older brother. The name hit the group and stiffened them. Kang Hyuk turned his face toward the others, his red eyes fixed and unreadable. Tension split the room and distance grew between patience and action.